Hi, welcome back to Shotoku Tech. When I was looking at Meshtastic Flasher, I saw that it supports the TTGO LoRa32 V2.1 1.6. So I went ahead and bought one. I saw one on sale for like 12 bucks, so I went ahead and bought one. That price isn't there anymore. Here you see it is in Meshtastic Flasher. Now you want to pay close attention to that chip. If you look closely at this chip, this is exactly how mine is stamped, T3V161. But it is the V2.1 1.6. And I'm also going to check out some cases, so check out the rest of the video later on. I'm going to test different cases for the TTGO LoRa ESP32, and I'll show you which one was my favorite. But first of all, let's go ahead and flash Meshtastic. This is the out-of-box experience. I don't know what it's doing. It flashes some QR code. Yeah, I'll have to check that case out because it's obscuring part of the screen there. I might try this case instead. We'll see. We'll talk more about cases later. Yeah, I went to Thingiverse. I figured I'd do stuff so that you don't have to. If I can ferret out the best way, or fix something that's broken and it helps you, that's what this channel is all about. Okay, so there it is right there, the TTGO LoRa32 V2.1 1.6. And the new 2.5 firmware is out. We're going to go ahead and hit flash. Scroll down through all of this. Alright, I want to do a full erase and install. Right there. I don't want any remnants of whatever else is on there. So we got to connect to the USB serial port. So I've cropped a lot of this out. Yeah, don't worry, I cropped a lot of this out. So, yeah. It takes about 3-4 minutes. So first it flashes the app partition. And then we'll go ahead and crop over to flashing the OTA partition. And then finally it flashes the system. So any of the ESP32 Meshtastic devices have a file system where they can store the GPS tracking data. I demonstrated that a while back with the Heltec capsule sensor. Yeah, and now you see the board has rebooted and you see messages in the serial there. We'll go ahead and connect serial. There we go. The first thing you have to do is set the region in the LoRa config section. If you don't set it, you don't get any juice. If you set it to US, you get the parameters that are provided for the United States. I set the hop limit up to 7. We've been doing that in our mesh in Tucson because the channel utilization is still pretty low. I like to rename my devices so everybody on the mesh recognizes who they are. So I put Shotoku in there. All right. Then we go ahead and save that config. And of course, the device reboots. We're going to get back into here, and we see the nodes list just starts piling up immediately. And those unknown nodes, that'll get sorted out over time. I'm waiting to see my window node, because my window node gets me around town pretty good. Yeah, I'm just going to keep the stubby antenna on this one and use a more powerful node in its vicinity as sort of a router if I go out on the road. Yeah, Shotoku 20A8. It's in the window of one of my bedrooms facing north, and it reaches all the way to Mount Lemmon, like 16 miles away. So let's send a message to 20A8. Hello. And there, yeah, you see the message come through on my phone. My phone's connected to 20A8 via Bluetooth. That Bluetooth, man, I can go all over my house and be in contact with my window unit. Hello, TTGO LoRa32. And let's send that back. And message received. So let's see if we can get out onto the mesh now. Yeah, see there's the message. Hello, TTGO LoRa32. So we go to the primary channel, and I'm just going to send a test message. Test TTGO LoRa32. Wait for the check mark. Do we get a check mark there? Okay, well, it came through. And I'm just going to reply to myself from 2088. Gotcha, 4FCC. Wait for the check mark. There we go, check mark. So message went through. Yeah, there we go. So we used both the private message and the long fast, the default channel, long fast. Okay, so this was the first case. I tried 6 different cases. They all were specifically TTGO LoRa ESP32 was what I searched for on Thingiverse, and I found 6 cases. This first one, yeah, let's go ahead. I just want to show off my bamboo, my bamboo printing software here. Now we just draw this down into the Bamboo Lab. Basically, it's the one-stop shop for processing the STL files. Yeah, I'm going to auto arrange. Oh yeah, I'm going to auto rotate. That'll put the flattest surface down. Then we'll auto arrange again. So you can slice it, and then you can print it, and you can monitor it and control your printer from this single software platform. I'm pretty impressed with that. Okay, so the slice is done. You can see a couple of supports here and there. And then we're going to go ahead and print the plate. And that sends it to the printer. It warns you not to do the time lapse. I probably shouldn't have, but it's okay. All right, see here, yeah, later on it starts showing up. You can actually monitor it in the software via the built-in camera. There's a built-in camera on that Bamboo Mini. Okay, this first case, I just thought that the wall thickness was just a little thin. I'd like something a little sturdier. I'm sure it's a fine case. I was interested in this case because it said it had room for an 18650 battery, and that would just be like more than ideal. So let's check that one out. I was kind of just a slightly disappointed because it's not going to hold the battery holder, and it just barely fits the battery. Yeah, I could get one of those little spot welders and weld the wires on there. You got to be real careful with heat around LiPo batteries. Yeah, it's not something you want to play with. Case number 3. I thought this was kind of cool. It looked big. I thought maybe there'd be more room for a bigger battery. It does require screws, so that was one of the things I didn't like about it. I like this inner liner thing, but when you analyze this case, it's really not going to have much more room for a battery than any of the other cases on the table here. So having a bigger case without more battery is just not going to be suitable for me. This is actually the 5th one I printed, the Slimline case. And it's about the same dimensions as number 4. I think number 4 just made it look like I'll be able to put a 8mm tall battery in it. Both 4 and 5 have this width of 25mm. You remember in one of my previous videos we talked about the size designations on the batteries. When I printed this one, I wasn't paying very much attention. I didn't realize right down here it says fits the board without a display. I'm like, yeah, that kind of defeats the purpose. There's no display. And that channel there looks like it's going to be too small for any large size battery. So this was the case I went with here. I liked the positive hooks there that close the case. And like I say, I do believe I can fit like an 8mm tall battery in there. And it's going to be 25mm wide. And then let's just get down to the nitty gritty here. Yeah, see, I like those hooks. Those hooks pop into the holes. The case is easy enough to open and close, but it's also pretty secure. So let's get our internal dimensions here. See what we're going to do about a battery. There we go. Yeah, that's at 25mm. Now I don't want to clash with that Bluetooth antenna. So I think to get the maximum dimension here without clashing into that Bluetooth antenna, we're basically looking for an 80-25-40 battery. Yeah, we can go up to like 42, 43mm there. Sorry about the focus. Come on, camera. So those were the cases I tried. I'm going to go with number 4 or number 5. I've got the batteries on the way, and we'll take a look at the batteries in just a second. You see here, I've got basically 5 minus 2 or 3 is going to give me 2 or 3, and then the depth of the back of the case is going to give me a certain amount of space. Let's see what that is. Yeah, so I'm hoping the 8 by 25 by 40 will fit in this case. But let's check it out. You can see it has a positive snap to it when you close it. Give it a little nudge there. Yeah. I don't know what that big round hole is there on the top. I don't understand what that's for. Number 5 doesn't have that, so I might go with number 5 if the battery will fit. Other than that, yeah, we saw part of the display is occluded. I can pull the STL back in and rework that in Tinkercad. Yeah, so the 500 mAh battery that's 6 millimeters tall, and if you can get this 8 millimeter 25 by 40, that's 1,000 milliamp hours, and that's really the target I'm interested in. Look for the links down below for all of this. There, of course, is the product page. Make sure to pay attention to that number on the chip so that you know you're getting the right board. All right, give this video a like, leave a comment down below, and before you go watch more of my Meshtastic videos or my TTGO LoRa videos, please click on subscribe. Thank you very much.